Good morning. This is the time and place for the September 1st Planning Hearing Officer meeting, and my name is Vilia Zimataitis, and I will be conducting the hearing as the hearing officer. We have one case on today's agenda, and relevant exhibits are posted on panels located directly behind me. The case today is located at 902 Stewarton Way, and this would be conditional use permit number PCUP 2010-007. It is for a conditional use permit to allow the construction of a new 4,792 square foot residence with a new deck and a swimming pool on a lot less than 80 feet in width. Under the provisions of Title 30, Chapter 30.42 of the Glendale Municipal Code, a conditional use permit shall be granted if four of the required findings are present. They are: 1, that the proposed use will be consistent with the elements and objectives of the general plan; 2, that the use and its associated structures and facilities will not be detrimental to the public health or safety, the general welfare, or the environment; 3, that the use and the facilities will not adversely affect or conflict with the adjacent uses or impede the normal development of the surrounding properties; and 4, that adequate public and private facilities, such as utilities, landscaping, parking spaces, and traffic circulation measures, are or will be provided for the proposed use. There was also quite a bit of discussion at the last hearing regarding what is the section 30.11.040. And this particular section of the Glendale Municipal Code requires that every discretionary decision related to the development in the ROS or in the R1R zones take into consideration certain findings when evaluating a proposed project. Just to let you know that this particular code section, with such evaluations as hillside guidelines, mass and scale and whatnot, is something that is applicable to this particular project. These items were addressed in the current staff report and will be taken into consideration in my decision today. So just to let everyone know that section 30.11.040, as discussed in our last hearing meeting, is applicable and will be considered as part of my decision today or in the subsequent decision made. That said, I would like to turn the meeting over to the case planner, Jaleh Kiazand.
Morning, hearing officer. The project is the construction of a two-story house to replace an existing one-story house located at 902 Stewarton Way with the case number PCUP 2010-007. The public hearing for the above project was opened on July 28, 2010 and continued to August 18, 2010 for additional information. The matter was further continued to September 1, 2010 to clarify the number of stories in the residence. The house has been reduced in size from 5,510 square feet to 4,700 square feet relative to the previous submittal. The basement has been reduced in size to 92 square feet, which is an inhabitable area due to the fact that it has less than 6 feet high. No major changes to the height of the house is proposed, since a portion of the house is double height, is proposed to be double height. I'm going to go over the chapter 30.11.040 and go through the point on how it's been addressed. The project is generally consistent with design objectives in the Glendale Municipal Code and various guidelines because no loss of natural hillside character is proposed since the house is located on the graded portion of the site. Mass grading is not proposed. The volume of removed dirt is 476 cubic yards. There will be no visually obtrusive cut and fill slopes. The proposed house will be situated on a graded path. The existing house is proposed to be demolished, hence there will be no lack of cohesiveness between the existing and new portion of the house. There is no specific and predominant style of architecture in the neighborhood. Homes in the area contain a mix of architectural elements from different architectural styles. The homes exhibit substantial variety in height and massing. The shared architectural feature is the pitched and gable roofing system, for the homes, majority of which are designed in a contemporary style. The new house deviates from the other homes in the neighborhood in terms of the roofing system, since a flat roof is proposed and more glazing is incorporated in the design of the house, but not incompatible. Compatibility does not require a house to be identical to its neighborhood. The project is well designed and will fit comfortably within the mix of architecture already present in the neighborhood. Hillside landscape guidelines are concerned with plant selection, visual impact, and fire zone management. All proposed vegetation will be drought tolerant and California-friendly plants. Trees and shrubs are proposed at the side of the driveway to the site and on the north and east side of the site. This arrangement provides a buffer between the proposed house and the homes on the north and east side of the subject site, where the house is closest to the adjacent neighboring properties. A new pool is proposed near the southern property line. A row of Photonia is a shrub which easily grows several feet high, separates the proposed pool from the southern neighboring properties. Subject site is located at the end of a cul-de-sac, where the lot to the north of the project is located at a higher altitude, and the lot to the south is at a lower altitude relative to the project site. The stepping of the properties in the neighborhood allows for the mass of the homes to be varied with different roof orientation, particularly since the homes are located at an angle to each other and not positioned in a row. The predominant feature in the neighborhood is the use of pitch and gable roofs. The surrounding homes are designed with a mix of stylistic elements and a variety of massing. For example, both 901 and 905 Stewarton Way, adjacent to the subject site, are two-story homes. The neighborhood contains homes with massing similar to the ranch style. The proposed house had a flat roof instead of a gabled roof. This feature, along with the long fascia board running along the length of the house at roof level and between the first and second floor, emphasize the horizontality of the project residence. The house has been moved further away from southern property line. A new deck occupies the area between the house and the new pool, which is over 3 feet from the southern property line. While the proposed residence is larger than the neighborhood average, the subject site is also among the largest in the neighborhood. Additionally, given the configuration of the lot and the proposed location of the house, a portion of the residence is not visible from the street, thus reducing the perceived size of the house. The project does not involve significant removal of native vegetation or alteration of terrain. The subject site and the surrounding neighborhood were graded and already developed. Approximately 476 cubic yards of dirt will be removed along the eastern portion of the lot, which includes lowering of the driveway that currently slopes up from the street to the site. Approximately 78 cubic yards will be filled along the north, south, and west of the site. The proposed site plan provides more open space on the south side. On the west, the new house is adjacent to the sloped portion of the site. On the east, the subject house and the neighboring homes are offset and not immediately next to each other. Therefore, the existing open space will not be negatively affected as a result of proposal. While the subject site contains a steep slope, the proposed residence will be located on the portion of the site which is already contained a graded path. No part of the residence will be located on the steeply sloped portion of the site. There will be no visual impact on surrounding properties regarding the residence on the steep slope, since the residence is located entirely on the graded path. The proposed residence is horizontally oriented in an east-west portion direction similar to the major portion of the lot. It will be located further north on the lot relative to proposed residence and properties to the south. It will be located further north on the lot relative to the existing house. This will create more separation between the proposed residence and properties to the south. A deck and pool are proposed in this area. The proposed driveway will be graded and lowered relative to the existing condition. The height of the residence generally follows the topography of the site. The house is lowered in height in the eastern portion of the site and rises in height closer to the steep upslope portion of the property. The city's requirements and policies have evolved through the years on the relevance of architectural style in such a way that a particular style of a residence is less important than carrying out a chosen style in a quality manner. A new house need not necessarily be of the same design as the neighboring home to be compatible with them. There is no predominant style of architecture in the neighborhood. The main shared feature is the pitch and gable roofing system. The new house is well designed in a contemporary style with a flat roof. Although the proposed roof deviates from the roofing system of the neighborhood, it allows for a reduced height with less visibility and less impact in terms of mass and scale, and is consistent and complementary to the contemporary styled house. The roof form also is stepped, providing a break in the continuous length of the building. The funnel-shaped lot adjacent to the street and large street setback makes the house less visible from the street view. The new house is proposed with variation in wall plane, reducing the appearance of building mass. Planning division staff can make all the findings in a positive manner and recommend approval of the CUP. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Kiazan. I believe that there were some changes made to the home since the last meeting. Would you mind pointing out those type of changes?
Sure. The habitable portion of the site has been reduced from 5,510 to 4,700 square feet. And also, their basement area has been reduced to 92 square feet, which is mainly not considered habitable because it is lower than 6 feet in height.
Okay. Right.
And the other thing is, I'm sorry, I need to mention that there is at no point the house is 2-story, more than 2-story. I'm sorry, it used to be 3-story.
2-story structure. All right. At this point, I'd like to ask the applicant, Alan Malikian, to come forward, stating your name, both your name and address. And there is a 15-minute time limitation for your presentation.
Good morning. My name is Alan Malikian. My office is 2255 Honolulu Avenue. We're the designer of the project. I did the opening findings last time, so I guess it's a continuation. So I'll just go ahead and spend my time explaining what happened between the last hearing and now. There were some concerns about and questions and clarifications needed to occur for the basement. So the hatched area there is the area that it got affected, and we provided a basement plan and a section and clarifying the 3-story versus a 2-story. The main concern with the neighbors was the compatibility design and other issues that came about from the project was presented. So since then, we met with the neighbors twice, and we had numerous emails, phone conversations, and provided as many exhibits as possible to clarify and explain the design that we did. We also built a massing model we provided here that it helped everybody to understand what we're proposing. At the same time, owner volunteered to stake poles on the site to represent specific locations that was requested by the homeowners to explain the massing and kind of give them the visualization of how the massing works. It's still, we've assured them that this is the process that needs to go through the CUP, and going through the design review, we're going to revisit certain areas of the project, and we're going to, prior coming to and submitting and having the design review hearing, we'll be meeting with them and discussing it and just making sure that everybody's on board with us and what we're proposing. There was a lot of confusion of where the actual building would sit and how the impact would be. So by placing the stakes there, it explained to everyone how far back the building sits and what the height of the most visible impacted areas of the building it's going to be in relation to the southerly neighbors that mostly concerned about the project. There were also some clarifications needed of where we were proposing the future pool area, and we actually went to the site and we met on the site. We actually walked the locations. Also, there were some questions in regards to where the property line is, so we actually put a string to depict where the property line is located. So from there on, the model was sitting in my office, and we welcomed everyone. Some of the homeowners did take the offer and came down and saw the model, and we answered any questions they had. Any documents they needed, we provided them. So at the end, Mr. Lee was kind enough to give me a call yesterday and tell me that there was a letter issued to the city in support of the CUP and waiting for the design review packet to be reviewed. So other than that, I'm here to answer any questions that there may be, and hopefully everything is to what you to your liking and meets all the findings.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Do you mind bringing up the model just so that we can
Sure.
take a look and see? If you don't mind, or just right there, that would be. Great.
This is the highest point.
Oh no, I see.
That's the way.
So this is actually not just a model of the home, but it's a model of the surrounding neighborhood context.
And Ara was kind enough to help us with this. And what I asked was to build the contour of literally a block and to show the streets and all the immediate building masses that were in fact surrounding the building. I didn't extend the model there. What this does is it actually shows where the building is going to be situated, how far back it goes. It kind of outlines the pool area and shows the contour of where the actual buildings sit. And these contours were generated through the GIS map that was provided by the city. So we didn't literally go and survey we used the city's GIS map to develop the site. So right now, as it stands, we haven't really changed the only thing that was affected since the last hearing was the basement. So from that point on, we've discussed certain elements there that I think it's going to really help the project further, and we're still in the discussion, and Sir Lee and the neighbors are aware of that discussions that we're having amongst ourselves, the owner and I, and once it's ready, then we'll definitely present it to them.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. That speaker card for the applicant architect. I have 2 speaker cards for neighbors and homeowners association representatives. I also have a letter, an email that was actually sent in by Mr. Al Hoffman, who's the president of the Glendale Homeowners Coordinating Council. I would like to read this into the record, and unfortunately he is unable to attend, and so that is why he sent this email. I am very pleased that the applicant and owner have met with the Royal Canyon neighbors affected by the project at 902 Stewarton Way. I believe this should be a model for future issues such as this. I want to thank your staff, particularly in working out all the details in order to bring this case to its final CUP hearing. I wanted to attend this meeting to make an announcement on behalf of the Glendale Homeowners Coordinating Council that we will join the Royal Canyon Property Owners Association in removing our objections to the project based on the results of the meetings between the association neighbors and the applicants for their cooperation in resolving this important issue. The Glendale Homeowners Coordinating Council will want to continue to work with your staff in future refinements of the ordinances, which apply to new construction and remodels in all neighborhoods in the city. The use of story poles in the CUP phase is an excellent way to satisfy view and privacy issues very early in the process. I also want to thank the association and all the neighbors who were so strongly involved in this process. This is it from an email from Mr. Al Hoffman, which lends us to the speakers. And the 2 speaker cards, one is from Mr. Richard Lee and one from Mr. Nick Friesen. Who would like to go first? I'll allow you to choose between the 2 of you. And your name and address for the record, please.
Looks like I got volunteered. I'm Nick Friesen. I reside at 1111 Old Phillips Road, so I'm a near neighbor here, and I'm also current vice president of the Royal Canyon Properties Owners Association. And as Mr. Malekian said, we do have a letter for you.
Thank you very much.
And the sum of substance, Mr. Malekian's already said, but I'll just repeat it in part for the record. They have been very cooperative with the Homeowners Association, friendly and neighborly. And as he said, we've met, we've expressed our concerns, and they have been very gracious in meeting those concerns, particularly with respect to developing the massing models so we get a better appreciation of it, putting up some temporary story poles before the real story poles have to go in, and also being understanding as to the neighbors' concerns. So for those reasons, we have no objection to a 2-story building in place of a 1-story, as long as the house does not have any predominant visual impact on the neighborhood. And we don't object to a contemporary style flat roof. And we have no objection as long as all of the appropriate city and design review board rules are met. And it's our understanding that in this letter as an attachment, we have given you some comments regarding the staff report and any concerns that we have. And as long as the staff affirmatively addresses those, we have no objection to this matter proceeding.
Right.
Please.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Richard Lee.
Hi, good morning. I'm Richard Lee, and I live at 925 Penshore Terrace. The reason I filled out a speaker card is that Mr. Hoffman sent me also a copy of the email and asked me to read it if there was no one else available. And also, while I'm here, I'll just express my appreciation to the architect and the new neighbor for their spirit of cooperation and assistance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would anyone else care to speak at the hearing? With that said, I'd just like to comment on the efforts made by both parties involved. Nice to hear applicants and adjacent homeowners working together to resolve issues. That said, the hearing is closed. I will take the case under submission and render a decision. The decision will be available if you'd like to have us send you a copy. I would be more than happy to do so. Perhaps you can leave your address with our staff. Otherwise, there is a 15-day appeal period, and if the matter is approved, it will go to the Design Review Board, and you will receive notice of public hearing for that Design Review Board case. That said, the hearing is closed. Thank you very much for attending.